Sometimes in life, when things don't go your way or things don't go as you hope they would, maybe something got taken away from you, something that you really wanted, relationship breaking down, something like that, you have to kind of reframe your perspective. Maybe the universe isn't against you. Maybe the universe is working for you and you just can't see it at the time. You can't see the bigger picture. See, a few years ago, I was sick of my job. I'd worked my way up to the top of the company. I was earning good money, but I had a lot of responsibility on my shoulders, a lot of stress, and I was miserable and I wasn't doing much living. Around about that time, I'd got into trading, currency trading, like Forex. I was doing all right. I was making a bit of money, nothing major, but I had confidence that I could make more money if I had the capital to do so. And so I decided at that time that I was going to quit my job. I was going to go and take a prop firm exam where I could have more capital to trade with. And that was going to be my new life. Very naive at the time, but I was so desperate to get out of the situation that I found myself in. I thought that earning money by trading was the quickest and easiest route for me to escape the 9 to 5. And it didn't work. I quit my job. I failed the exam. I burnt through my savings. And the more desperate I was to try and make it work, the more I tried to make the money that I needed, the more I lost. And looking back on that now, I understand it was because I had my priorities all screwed up, all messed up. I wanted it so much, and I'd placed all my eggs in that basket, that it was like the universe was resisting it. Because the more pressure I put on myself to make the money, and the more my savings was going down, the more pressure I was putting on myself, the more I was failing. And also looking back at it at that time, I still had a bad coke habit. I was doing it, at the weekends, sometimes during the week. And thinking and looking back on it, if I'd have suddenly been able to make 2, 3, 5 grand in a week, what would I have done with that money? Would that have been good for me at that time to have 5, 10 grand disposable income? What would I have done with it? Put it up my nose? I wasn't in the right mind frame at that time to achieve the things that I'd set out to achieve. And I looked at myself as a failure because I ended up taking a job doing labouring in construction for a roofing company. I burnt through my savings and I ended up, after a year, I ended up back at the company that I'd left, effectively with my tail between my legs. And yeah, that hurt my pride at the time, not going to lie. But so many other things have now fallen into place from the time that I decided to leave my job and start trading to now. And they've actually worked out better than I could have hoped. So for instance, now I'm back at my job, but I've got less responsibility and I'm not chasing money the way that I used to, because in that space where I'd taken time out, I'd rented my flat out. So I've now got a tenant living in my flat. So I'm not as dependent on my wage as I was, which means that I don't have to take on so much responsibility in order to earn more money, which in turn means that I'm less stressed and effectively I'm more happier. And in that time, I've managed to finally kick my drug habit. Don't do coke anymore. I rarely even drink anymore. And if I do, it's 1 or 2 beers at the right time. And so I'm in such a better mental state to achieve the things that I want to achieve. And I realise now that it was never meant for me at that time. There's a reason why it didn't happen at that time. And I thought I was a failure. I thought that I couldn't achieve what I wanted to achieve in life, and therefore I was a failure. But actually the universe had better plans for me. Maybe I needed to learn things. Maybe the money that I was chasing will come to me later on down the line. But the universe wanted me to be in a better mental state, to be happier, to be not reliant on drugs to get a sense of fulfillment from life. And maybe now I'm better placed to do the things that I set out to do and not only achieve them, but smash those goals. So you need to think about things, and you need to think about when things don't work out for you. Maybe a relationship ends. Maybe it was for a reason. And I know that's very hard in the moment to think like that. It takes a strong character to be faced with adversity and to try and see the positives in that. But ultimately, life is just one big lesson. And the difference between people that do well in life, the ones that achieve and the ones that stay stuck, is the ability to look at all of those past events and try and take knowledge and wisdom from them. Because now I'm in a position where I'm not financially reliant on a job the way that I used to be. And that was one of the things that I was chasing. So it happened, but it just didn't happen in the way that I first set out. I thought it was going to be through trading. In actual fact, it was by renting my flat out and ultimately getting a rental income each and every month and not being so reliant on my wage to pay the mortgage and to pay the bills. So now I've got more disposable income. I can enjoy life more, which again is what I set out to do 2 years ago, but it just didn't happen in the way that I thought. And in those 2 years, I've worked on myself. I've quit using drugs and binge drinking every weekend. I am much more at peace with myself. I've gone to therapy and I'm currently still doing that. And I'm in such a better position to now achieve the things that I set out to do 2 years ago. So if that is you, if you've had plans that have fallen through or relationships that have failed and maybe business opportunities that have failed, maybe the universe isn't against you. Maybe it's working with you, but there's a plan that you can't see. Maybe there's a lesson that you need to learn. And maybe once you learn that lesson, as hard as it is at the time, you'll be stronger, you'll have more wisdom, you'll be better placed to achieve those goals that were truly meant for you all along. That's some food for thought there. Peace.